When life knocks you down, and life will knock you down, try to land on your back. Because if you can look up, you can get up. Welcome to Fire with Dr. Ninja Turtle.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Fire with Dr. Ninja Turtle. Everyone thinks that financial independence, retire early is all about living on the beach, and that's a misconception. I'm going to show you what my life has been like in retirement and 5 things that you should know that I've discovered since retiring early. One of those things that I've discovered is the myth versus the reality. It sounds glamorous. I'll retire early and just live a life of leisure. Well, that's not my story. I have retired early and I still teach. So I have financial independence, recreational employment. And what that means is that I can teach classes on my schedule. I can teach from the beach. I have taught classes while being on a beach in Belize. Anywhere where I have internet access, I can teach. But also, what that means is that I work most of the year. I had the entire month of August off, and that's the first time in the past 10 years, and I've been retired 5 years, that's the first time that I've had a month off in this whole time. Now, I can choose to take a day off and, per se, ride my motorcycle, but that is not the reality of retiring early for some people. Now, if you have a large 401k or a large retirement account, yes, you can not work. I did not retire with a large retirement account. I retired with only $300,000. So that means that I still have to do a little side hustle until such time as my real estate starts to take over and build on its own, which is starting to happen in 2025. Some people say that there is an emotional adjustment to retiring early, such as losing your identity from the job that you've had for some years. That was not the case for me. I was happy to leave my job because I was in a toxic work environment. So I had no loss of identity. And that's one of the things that people worry about in early retirement. Another cost is health care. That people worry about health care in early retirement. If you do not have a government pension that includes health care, then that can be a real worry. I have federal health care, so I do not have to worry about health care in retirement. That is a worry for a lot of people, and that is something you should definitely take into consideration if you're going to retire early. How are you going to pay $500, $600, $1,000 a month in health care? Or you can plan ahead and go on the ACA, the Affordable Health Care. That a lot of people are doing, and it works really well. So do not worry about health care. There are options. Go ahead and retire early. Another thing that people worry about is the social isolation trap. They think that it's going to be hard to make new friends in their new location. I had no problem. I got out to a Harley dealership and signed up for a charity motorcycle ride to raise money for charity. On that ride, I met other friends who signed up for that charity motorcycle ride. Today, we all ride motorcycles together. We love raising money for charity. And not only that, they take me to all the new restaurants on the beach that I've never been to. Another thing that you can do to build community is to volunteer. I volunteer in my town not only to teach financial literacy, which allows me to meet people monthly at my local library, but I also volunteer to hand out food at a local religious organization that goes to the homeless and also to apartment buildings in my town. And we knock on doors and we just offer free lunches to anyone in motels and apartment buildings that may need free food. This is a great way to build community and volunteer. Another myth is that people think FIRE solves all problems. It does not. You could get bored in early retirement because a lot of the people that you associate with are still working. That is a real situation. But you can find community in different places of other early retirees, such as Choose FI, there is Camp FI, and there is the Economy, spelled with ME at the end, conference, where you can go and associate with other early retirees. You can learn how they do it, and also you can watch YouTube videos like I do of people who have retired early and what they're doing in their retirement. Be careful of money conflicts. If you've retired and your spouse has not retired, there could be money conflicts and time conflicts there. A lot of couples retire early together. Both my wife and I retired at about the same time. I retired at 58 and a half, and about a year later, she retired at 50. So there are times where people retire at the same time and things really work out. One of the best things that I've done is to contribute to my community. I've mentioned community service, but community service was important to me before I retired when I rode with the Buffalo Soldiers, and it's also important to me after I retire. One of the things about me is that I have always given back to my community, no matter what. I was asked by a college professor one time, "What are you doing for your community?" And I realized that I wasn't doing anything. So for many, many years, I have been doing community service. One of the things that it's best to do in FIRE is to redefine what you say success is. It's not about the numbers. It's about defining a life and designing a life that you want to live. For me, it's about having time to ride my motorcycle, go fishing, and go visit my friends that live all over the country. And some of us, we travel every year to another country. I want the freedom to do those things. Yes, I'm trying to live on $900 a month normally, but when I go on vacation, I like to really enjoy myself. And that's the benefit of living on $900 a month during my normal months. Also, you could retire early and explore ways like Coast Fire or Barista Fire. Coast Fire is when you've saved up enough money where you could take a job that is less stressful and not have to worry about saving for future retirement because you've already saved enough that by the time you get to be 65, you will have plenty of money to retire on. Also, there is Barista Fire, which you could say I'm Barista Fire. I teach in colleges for a little extra income, and it's enough so that I could live on my $900 a month. The last thing that I want to share about this is living intentionally. I believe what Ramit Sethi says, that you cut mercilessly on the things that don't bring you value in your life, but you spend extravagantly on the things that do. And so what that means to me is that I spend a lot of money on travel when I'm having fun with my friends. What I do is I cut mercilessly on the things that I don't need to spend money on, which is I don't go out every single day and buy new things, and that I'm a minimalist. However, when I travel, someday I want to work my way up to going first class. The key takeaway from this video is that FIRE brings freedom. It's freedom of time. And it's not so much about the money. The more money you have, yes, you can live a much happier lifestyle and a much more free lifestyle. However, if you live intentionally, it doesn't matter how much money you have. When you decide that you're going to retire early, you get to decide how much you want to live on. and it's nothing on anyone else's standards. Remember, personal finance is personal. Please like and subscribe to this video and to my channel. FIRE is not about escaping life. It's about designing the life that you want to live. Remember, never let your past determine your future.